Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. My name is Javed and I'll be showing you today on how to create users, how to delete users, and how to grant permission to the users in MySQL. Okay, so let's get started. Let me log into my Ubuntu. Yeah, so I am doing this on Ubuntu, one of the distributions from Linux. I have installed LAMP LAMP server on Ubuntu, and I think that this is the easiest way to run SQL commands. No, you don't have to be case sensitive every time, and you can you can properly learn if you are doing it via Ubuntu. Okay, so let me show you how do we log in to Ubuntu in my SQL. Okay, so this is the first page which you will see in the terminal. All right, so if you want to log into MySQL, then you will have to type sudo mysql. Okay, that means you are in MySQL now. So to create a user, before we do that, let me show you how many users are already created in the database. Okay, so for that we have to run this command: select user host from mysql.user. So this mysql.user is a file which stores information about the users. Okay. Once we run it, so we can see user column and host column. Under the user column, you will be able to see the total number of users that are created in the system. And under the host, you will be able to see the hosting rights. The, the percentile means that this user will be able to access the database anywhere in the world, and the IP address under the host column means that this user will be able to access the database if the user is logged in with this IP address, and the local host means that the user will be able to access the database on the local machine only. All right, so now to create a user, let me first of all clear the screen by pressing Ctrl L. Create a user, you can use create command, create user, and the name of the user, let's say um, Amir, and the host name. All right, create user host name. Okay, and then you can use semicolon and you will be good. But if you want to assign a password to this user as well, then you can use identified identified by password. Password can be anything: 1 2 3 4 5 6. Press enter. Query OK. 0 rows effective. That means we are able to create this user in our database. Now to test it, we'll just run the same command: select user host from mysql.user. Okay, so we have created a new user. Okay, on this local machine. All right. So now, if we want to see the permissions that are granted to this user by default, if you know that by default there will be no permissions granted to this user. So to see that, we will use show grants for username. Username is okay. This is the username. It says grant usage on star.star to Amir at localhost. That means this user hasn't been given any permission so far. Okay, so let's say um, I have a database created in my system with the name my data, and therein I have created a table with the name employee. So let's say I want to give the insert permission to this user, to this newly created user. How can we do that? We simply use grant command, grant insert on the name of the database, my data dot, and the name of the table, which is employee to the name of the user. Okay, looks simple. Query OK 0 is affected. That means we are able to grant permission to this user. Now this user will be able to insert into the table, the data into the table. Let's verify it by using show command, show grants for username, localhost. Now we have given the insert permission to the newly created user. Okay, so now if you want to revoke this permission, if you so let's say this user has inserted some data into the database, and now you didn't like the way the data was entered into the database, and you feel that before before the user commits any mistake, let's revoke the permission from the user. So to do that, you will have to use a revoke command, revoke insert, revoke insert on my data dot emp from the username. Okay. Okay, so now we have a revoked insert permission from the newly created user. To test it, use show grants command for this user. See, there is no permission given to this user for now. All right, so let's give all privileges. All privileges means all access to this user. Okay, so for that we can use grant command, grant all privileges, grant all privileges on star dot star is grant all privileges on star means the first star is to the entire databases, okay, and the second star is to entire tables on the machine or on the server. All right, now we are granting the permission to the newly created user on everything. Okay, grant all privileges on star to the name of the user. Very simple. Okay. Okay, grant all privileges on this. There is some error. Let me try to remove it. Grant all privileges on star. Let's try to put this in single quotations. Grant all privileges. Oh, it was a spelling mistake. Allegiance privileges to this user. Okay. Now let's grant all privileges to this newly created user. We can use grant command, grant all privileges on star. The first star is the all databases, and the second star is all tables to name of the user. Very simple. Okay, query OK 0 is affected. That means we were able to grant all privileges to the newly created user. Now to test it, we can use show grants command for this user. For this user, grants like to insert, update, delete, create, drop, reload. So every command that is available in MySQL, the privilege has been given to the newly created user. Okay. Now you can also try to modify it by using this command. Grant all privileges on all databases dot all tables to this user with grant option. What does this mean? This means that this user will be able to grant permission to the other users as well. So now we have given a permission to the newly created user to to add users to the database. Okay, and this user will be able to grant permission to the users that will be creating in the database as well if we use this command here. All right, let's run it. So Now let's test it. Show grants for this user. To Amir add localhost with grant option. Okay, so we were able to grant permission to this user now, and we have been successful in doing that. Now let's test it. So as you know that I have created a table under my database. Now let me try to log in with this newly created user first of all, and then try to see if we are really able to modify some content in the database and in the table. Okay, let me first of all clear the screen by pressing Control L and exit from the user, and try to log in with the newly created user. So to do that, you can simply use MySQL -u and the name of the user -p, simple, and then enter the password that we have set up for this user, 123456. All right, so we are logged in with this user now. So we'll see how many databases do have we created in the machine. Show data bases. All right, so these are the total number of databases that are created here. We can use my data because that's the one that I have created. The database changed. Now we can see how many tables are created here with show tables command. Employee table is there. Okay. Now we'll see what type of content is inserted there by using select. Let's start from PNP. Okay. Okay. So we have created 5 columns and 7 rows. Let me try to insert a data into the role column for employee ID 7. We can use update command, update table name, employee, set role equals to manager. Set role equals to manager where employee ID is equal to 7. Very simple. All right, this is going to update this column, role column and row number 7, and it will set it to manager. Okay, query okay, one reflected, rows match, changed one. Let's test it. Select star from table name. The, the role of this user is now manager. Okay, so we have successfully tested it. All right, and in case you want to delete this user, then you can do that. Just use drop command. Drop user. Um, all right, so now if you want to drop this user or delete this user, you can simply use drop command. Drop user and the username. Very simple. All right, so that's it for today. If you really like this video and feel like I should upload more videos of this sort, then let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your comments if anyone sees it. That's it. Bye.